Where the Crawdads Sing. October 30, 1969, somewhere in North Carolina, two boys are riding their bikes through the woods. They come across a marsh where they find the body of a young man named Chase Andrews, Harris Dickinson. The boys call the police and are met by Sheriff Jackson, Bill Kelly, and Deputy Purdue, Jason Warner Smith. The two observe that Chase fell from a high tower, either due to falling through a broken hatch door or because someone may have pushed him. People in town learn of Chase's death and suspect that the Marsh girl, a young woman named Catherine Danielle Clark / Kia Daisy Edgar-Jones. Kia learns that people are looking for her, and she attempts to make her escape, but Jackson and other officers ride by the swamp and apprehend her. Kia is taken into custody, where she is met by a lawyer, Tom Milton, David Strathairn. He tells her that in order to help her, he needs to get an idea of who she is. Kia is quiet but begins talking and telling her story before Tom leaves. 1952, as a child, Kia, here played by JoJo Regina, lived with her ma, Anna O'Reilly, older siblings Murph, Toby Nichols, Mandy, Adeline Whittle, Missy, Emma Willoughby, and Jody, Will Bundon, and their abusive pa, Garrett Dillahunt. After being unable to endure him any longer, the family slowly starts running away from home. Ma goes first, with Kia chasing after her. Murph, Mandy, and Missy follow suit later, and Jody eventually leaves. He tells Kia to go where the Crawdads sing, if she needs to get away, but Kia insists on staying in the hopes that Ma might come back. Kia spends time with her father fishing, the few times where he is not cruel to her. He gives her a knapsack so she starts collecting seashells and feathers. Near the marsh is a boy named Tate Walker, Luke David Blum, who is kind to Kia and becomes her friend. Kia goes into town, where the only people who are kind to her and don't judge her dirty, unkempt appearance is shopkeeper Jimmy Madison, Sterling Macer, Jr., and his wife Mabel, Michael Hyatt. Mabel encourages Kia to go to school after giving her new clothes. She runs into Tom, who directs her toward the school. While Kia attempts to be educated, the other kids are nasty to her over her appearance, so she runs away and never goes back. Back at home, she finds a letter in the mail from Ma, but Pa takes it and reads it before burning it so Kia cannot see what it says. Pa goes back to drinking and essentially abandons Kia, leaving her all alone in the house. Back in the present, the lawyer for the Andrews family does his best to condemn Kia, which most people already have done due to public opinion and the persistent rumors of her nature. Tom does his best to keep Kia calm and to prove that there is no justifiable evidence to prove that Kia was at fault for Chase's death. 1962, as Kia got older, she began drawing shells and other things she would find in the marsh. She is met by an older Tate, now played by Taylor John Smith. He helps her read and write so she can document her findings better, and he encourages her to send her drawings and writings to publishers. The two get closer, with Tate telling her his own backstory involving his mother and sister. Kia and Tate fall in love and almost make love for the first time by the river, but Tate changes his mind for fear that he might ruin Kia's life more. Tate is accepted into college, meaning he will be leaving Kia for an undetermined amount of time. Although she is upset, she allows him to spend one more night with her. Eventually, Kia comes to resent Tate for leaving her. 1965, Kia meets Chase as he is with his friends near the water. He approaches her and is friendly with her. Kia and Chase begin their own relationship, and Chase takes Kia's virginity, even though it is short and unsatisfying for her. He takes her to the same tower where he is later found dead. She later gives him a seashell necklace, which is brought up later in the court case because the necklace was not found on Chase's body at the time of his death. Meanwhile, Kia also has to deal with developers trying to take her home unless she comes up with a deed. Kia sends her work to publishers, and she has an official book on her drawings of seashells and feathers published, which earns her some money that allows her to keep and renovate her house. She is visited by Jody, now played by Logan McRae. He had enlisted in the army and tracked Kia down after finding her book. He says he lost all contact with their other siblings and would not recognize them if he saw them. Jody also tells Kia that their mother had tried to reunite with her children, but Pa threatened to beat them all if she came back. She eventually died of leukemia. Sometime later, Tate returns home from college and overhears Chase speaking vulgarly of Kia. They nearly fight until Jimmy breaks them up. Tate tries to go to Kia's home, but she reacts angrily and throws rocks at him until he apologizes and explains himself for his long absence. She comes to forgive him. While out in town, Kia finds Chase and wants to invite him over, but he discovers that he is with another woman and is engaged to her. Chase confronts her at her home after a bad encounter at the shop, and he attempts to beat her. After she strikes him back, Chase attempts to rape Kia until she hits him in the face with a rock. As she runs away, she yells out that she will kill him if he goes near her again, which is heard by a witness who later testifies to this in court. Kia returns home to find that Chase got there first and trashed the place. Around the time of Chase's death, Kia is invited to meet with publishers over dinner. This is brought up again in court, as Tom argues that while the hotel where Kia stayed was close to the bus station where she could have theoretically snuck out to lure Chase to the tower and kill him and come back, it doesn't make much sense that she would do so. Before the jury makes up their mind, Tom and the Andrews lawyer give their final statements. Tate, Jody, and the Madisons are the only ones there in support of Kia. In her cell, just before the verdict is reached, Kia insists to Tom that while the people in town were cruel to her, she never harbored any bad feelings toward them. She also tells Tom she remembers him from her childhood and how he was one of the few people kind to her. A verdict is reached, and the jury finds Kia not guilty of Chase's death due to lack of sufficient evidence. While Mrs. Andrews weeps, Kia's supporters cheer for her, and the judge tells Kia he is sorry for the accusations. Kia goes on to continue her romance with Tate, declaring themselves married. Time goes on, and they have a family. Kia writes more books, and they attend Jimmy's funeral together. Kia and Tate grow old together, and in her final moments, Kia rides her boat out into the marsh where she appears to see the spirit of her mother, as if to welcome her in death. Tate later finds Kia dead in the boat. After going through her belongings, he finds a book with a poem in which she writes that, sometimes for the prey to survive, the predator must die, along with a drawing of Chase and the seashell necklace, stained with his blood, confirming that Kia really did kill him. Tate throws the seashell into the marsh to keep Kia's legacy untarnished.